Hey guys, this is Chaitan.
This is Arun.
This is Shiv.
This is Aminder.
And this is Abby.
And welcome back to the Unprofessionals. So last night we just watched Game 6 of the NBA Finals play out, and the first time in 50 years, the title has returned to the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks have won the NBA Finals with the score of 105-98 against the Phoenix Suns, and Giannis Antetokounmpo finally, after 3 seasons of disappointment, we got first round knockouts, we got uh, being up 2-0 to the Toronto Raptors and then being completely demolished. And now he gets to finally say that he's an NBA champion, the third player in NBA history to have a Defensive Player of the Year, an MVP, and a Finals MVP. One of two players to ever have 40 plus points in a game and 10 plus rebounds multiple times in the finals. And just an absolutely extraordinary performance, being the seventh player in NBA history to score 50 plus in a finals. It was a magnificent finals. The Suns were up 2-0 and it looked like it was over. But Milwaukee fought back, win 4 in a row, and they win the series in 6. Arun, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, man. First off, what a final series. Both teams deserve to be here. Whatever you could say whatever about injuries. This is just part of the game. Both teams deserve to be here, and we got a great final series. Shout out to the Bucks, down 0-2, won 4 straight games. Um, to me, that's kind of almost like a sweep. You win 4 straight games in the finals. That people don't think that's hard. That is extremely hard to do. Giannis, this whole series, he's been hooping, man. So yesterday I saw something new in Giannis. This guy does not shy away from the pressure, and his free throw percentage is the one thing that really stood out to me. So we all know he's a very suspect free throw shooter. But yesterday, elimination game, a lot of pressure. I know you're at home and the fans aren't counting to 10 and whatever. You don't have it's pretty quiet when you're shooting free throws, but still, you're at the biggest stage. Um, the the biggest stage. Jathan just noted out that he shot 60% from previous games, but game 6, 17 for 19. What a performance by Giannis. 50 points, 14 rebounds, and not only he got done offensively, he got done defensively like he always does. 5 blocks, that is insane. Drew Holiday, first season with the Bucks, and what a result. You're a champion. First year on the team and you're a champion. They made some major roster moves this last offseason, and Giannis, just to make Giannis happy. And hey, I think he's pretty happy. He's a champion now. The Bucks, you could say whatever. I know Giannis in the post game, he said, I did it without a super team. And I think he's right. We'll talk about this later on in the episode. But man, this guy he won the team that drafted him a championship. It's a dream come true. He's only 26, so, and I think he'll be back in the finals coming up in the future of his career. So, Aminder, what's your thoughts?
So Bucks won the finals. My thoughts on the game was basically Bucks played an amazing game. Giannis was going off. He had 50 points and 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. He almost got to a triple double, but he didn't. But I want to talk about those 5 blocks in the third and fourth quarter. Those were crucial because those were the games when it was getting, they were like neck to neck, they were tied up. But when he had those blocks, that's when it made a difference, and the crowd was going wild. As you guys were watching the game as well. And then a lot of people do talk about how Giannis is the what do you call it, Robin of the team, and Chris Middleton is the Batman. I think by this game, his performance, he proved that Chris Middleton and Giannis are both Batman. Actually, I had one of my friends posted on his story, Parth. he basically said that they're both Batman and Batman. And I actually agree with that because there's moments where Chris Middleton during the game, I think it was second quarter, where was letting them shots flow and there was no one able to guard him. And then you have Giannis dropping 50 on Suns. So I think they accomplished a lot. How about you, Shivam?
Well, I just want to congratulate Giannis, dropping a 50 piece in a closeout game against the Phoenix Suns. Props to them, props to the whole organization. A minute to your last point where you mentioned that they're both Batman, Middleton and Giannis. I don't agree with that. One is the closer. I'll give you that, and that's Middleton. Although yesterday, when it came down the stretch, Giannis was doing everything that he possibly could. He was hitting jump shots that we've never really seen him take so confidently. And he is the Batman. Middleton, he's the closer. But anyways, this series starting off 2-0, I'm pretty sure everybody counted the Bucks out. I don't know what really changed the momentum of the game. I get maybe it's the home court because Abby had mentioned it before. It was the same thing with the Bucks versus Nets. That home court advantage makes such a huge difference, and we saw that last year in the bubble.
And the Bucks were able to steal that road game. I think Shivam, that's what the turning factor was, right?
Game 5.
They stole a game in the desert, didn't they?
Game 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They did, yes. Yeah, no, but I'm talking about them being down 2-0 and then them coming back home. I know they're back home, so I guess yeah, you are right. Them stealing game 5 was a big.
I think that was the turning point because if the Suns won that game, the Bucks are like they're on their heels to win that series. But Bucks had no pressure going home yesterday.
I think the turning point was actually Giannis realizing that
you can't be stopped.
Yeah, one, he can't be stopped.
Basically,
and the Suns' interior defense is lacking.
For sure.
But once he was just like, yo, I can just dunk everything. Because I'm sorry, but Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton just see a freak train just come by him every single time. They're like, yo, I'm not doing this every single time.
Ayton looked like he was a small forward he was like a little small forward trying to
He's a young player too, and he's not the best rim protector. So
that
was literally the only body they had. They're so desperate. They gave Frank Kaminsky 11 minutes just because they needed an extra body.
And that was a very physical game. The refs really let them play hard ball. There was a lot of no calls in that game, and I'm happy because game 5 there was some iffy, calls that weren't called, but game 6 they really let the players play, and it didn't look like it was one-sided calls. But like I said, yeah, like last season, we didn't see the home court advantage wasn't a thing, which is why we saw, Miami Heat make it all the way to the finals. We saw players, hooping like we've never seen them hoop before. This year, we saw, everything's back to normal. We saw how much of a difference home court makes. And Giannis last night, I think it was clear. Start of the first quarter, midway through the first quarter, they're up, 13 points? The Bucks were, demolishing the Phoenix Suns. But up until the fourth quarter, at the end of the third quarter, it was a tie game, 77-77. It was anyone's ball game. And Abby, I had mentioned this to you while the game was going on in the fourth quarter. If Phoenix Suns had won last night and they just had to play better than the Milwaukee Bucks for 12 minutes. If they did that, I think they would have went back to Phoenix and Phoenix would have won this in 7. But that home court, Giannis just amazed me. 17 for 19 free throws, I think he was.
Yep.
Ridiculous. CP was talking that smack in that post-game conference after game 5, talking about, everyone anticipates Giannis missing free throws. And that is very true. But if I'm Giannis, I'm taking that as disrespect. And what did he come out and do? Not only did he go 17 from 19 from the free throw, he was making jump shots, one-leg jump shots. Just shots. I'm shocked to see, he's out of his comfort zone. And
he's growing as a player, yeah.
Bro, there was that was an A+ game in my opinion. There was not any faults in his. There was no negative. He had 6 turnovers, but that doesn't matter because he had the ball in his hands at almost, all times. Any other points I want to make? Also, this proves I'll get to this later on in the episode, but if I'm Phoenix Suns, I'm up 2-0, and I'm Chris Paul. I'm the only experienced player on the court. I'm the one that needs to show this team how to close. These are all young players. Devin Booker, DeAndre, and never have even seen a finals game. Never even seen a playoff game before Chris Paul entered to their team. So if I'm Chris Paul with that veteran leadership, I need to, get my team head back in the game. I need to show them how to close. Chris Paul did not do that. He had a good fourth quarter. But after game 1 of this series, he was very underwhelming.
Do you think that's because of his age now?
No, I don't think so.
Or you think he just doesn't have it?
I think he doesn't have it because this is not the first time we've seen him be up 2-0 and not being able to get the job done. I don't think it's age at all because he didn't look like he looked completely healthy to me. He didn't look like he had his foot off the gas. It just looked like he just didn't have what it takes to get it done. And that says a lot about the Suns as I don't know where they go from here on out because that team is getting no better. And the rest of the West is just,
And Chris Paul could leave.
If I were him and I want that ring, I know my shot is not in Phoenix. That's for sure. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for my thoughts on this section.
Okay.
Abby?
Okay.
Oh, let's go.
Okay. Let's begin with these Phoenix Suns. These Phoenix Suns, great season. Got to the finals. Not many thought they could. You want to blame injuries. You want to blame luck. You want to blame whatever you want. You can. But they made it there, and they deserve to be there because they had to win 3 series to get there. Now let's get through this. Let's just go over Game 6 because that's what we're focusing on. We've all went over the previous games. My man, Chris Paul, he played good. He played okay. He played like this was a moment for him. 26 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Not supernatural numbers, but for a player of his caliber, they were very good, especially coming off of a disappointing Game 5. Devin Booker, I don't want to get on him because this man basically was carrying this team on his back Games 4 and 5, but this time it just wasn't his day. You can blame whatever. You can blame being tired from carrying, being tired from all the defenders coming his way. Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton, Giannis, they got bodies. They get paid. PJ Tucker gets paid only to really play defense. And Drew Holiday, we all know what he can do. So Devin Booker, he has to work for every shot that he gets, and that's what happened. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Just nothing, not what you expect from an up-and-coming superstar. 0 for 7 from 3. I know that probably hurts him the most because 0 for 7 from 3, that hurts you. Now we get to the just of this team yesterday. DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder. Why do I bring them both up? Because Jay Crowder, who is at least 7 inches shorter than DeAndre Ayton, who doesn't play center, Jay Crowder plays small forward. He had 13 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton, at 7 feet, whatever inches tall he is, he got 6 rebounds. Jay Crowder had 15 points. DeAndre Ayton had 12 points. I remember at the end of the Clippers series, Chris Paul got interviewed. He's absolutely happy out of his mind because he's about to go to the NBA Finals. But what does he do? He doesn't make it about himself. What does he do? He brings up DeAndre Ayton's name. He brings up Devin Booker's name. But what does he say about DeAndre Ayton? Oh, that man about to get the bag. Really? Because this is the key point that I got from this entire series, this playoffs, about the Suns team. Beware of who you pay. Because there's 2 players on this team who I'm not just saying this because of Game 6. I said this at the trade deadline for this Phoenix Suns team. DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges. They're both very good players. They're both very young players. But when you add a Chris Paul, a 36-year-old future Hall of Famer, you're saying you're going in now. Well, that means you have to get him the help now. And that is not what happened this time around because DeAndre Ayton looked like he was a G Leaguer out there because Giannis single-handedly, I don't know if his confidence maybe at all-time low. High school, college, NBA, that definitely was the worst game DeAndre Ayton may have ever played because of how he performed versus how the opposition performed against him. Jay Crowder had 13 rebounds, double what a 7-footer had, and he stays in the paint. DeAndre Ayton plays a perimeter game. He does not drive the basketball. And then off the bench, you have Frank Kaminsky, who played 11 minutes, 30 minutes less than DeAndre Ayton. He had 6 points and 2 rebounds. Basically, I can basically say his impact in 11 minutes was greater than DeAndre Ayton's, which cannot be said. And then we get to Cameron Payne, who I feel did a phenomenal job when he came into the game. He didn't play that many minutes, but he still had 10 points. He made 2 threes. He only attempted 2 threes. And that was it. Mikal Bridges also, he struggled. I think he had 7 points. I didn't even look up his stats because I knew they were meaningless. Because when you say I want the money, no, you cannot pay. Because if they pay DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges basically number 2 and number 3 money, that means you're asking them to be Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Can they be those 2 players? No, they cannot be. Especially if you re-sign Chris Paul, which is something Arun mentioned earlier. Does he stay? Does he go? If he stays, this cannot be the roster because it won't work. I mentioned at the trade deadline a name, Karl Towns. He's a young player, but he has been in this league. He's lost. He's been with Jimmy Butler. He knows the playoffs somewhat. That one year he made it, but he has the game to where this team can be elevated. This is just for future reference, but that was just the main takeaway I got from the Suns yesterday and in this finals, that they are not ready because their so-called third best player and another player, Mikal Bridges, who I love. He is a very, very, very good role player. You cannot pay. Listen, I'm not going to deny anybody getting paid because if they offer you, I'm not going to reject it. That's not the point here, because I hope they all get as much money as they possibly can. That's not what this is about. This is about not everybody is on the same level. And that's why the quote for the Phoenix Suns for me is beware of who you pay, because it's about to get dangerous, in my opinion. The Phoenix Suns just finally made it to the finals since 1993. You pay the wrong players and you fracture your team, guess what? It could be another 30 years. That's the point I'm trying to make about the Phoenix Suns. Now we get to the Bucks. I just got one word for you, and that is Giannis. This man, 2019, Chaitan mentioned it, went against Toronto up 2-1. We all thought it was over. Kawhi Leonard goes into the locker room at halftime and says to Nick Nurse, I got him. Kawhi Leonard was the one that went from the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Boris Diaw, Danny Green, Greg Popovich. He won a ring there. He knows. He was experienced. Giannis was not experienced. I think that was his second playoff, if I'm not mistaken. And then, you know what they did? They built that so-called wall, and that was it. Chris Middleton, he wasn't the player he is right now, and they couldn't do shit. And they lost 4 straight games. Just how, in this situation, the opposite happened, where they won 4 straight games. And another reason why 2019 doesn't count, because Eric Bledsoe was on that damn team. Eric Bledsoe was on the Bucks. Eric Bledsoe was on the team
off
last
the Pelicans.
Year. Guess what? Guess where Eric Bledsoe is right now? He is somewhere in New Orleans looking for crawfish, because that's what he should be doing. Eric Bledsoe was a starting point guard on a team that was expected to win a championship, and that cannot happen. And that's exactly why the Milwaukee Bucks said, deuces to you. We'll give up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday, who is a very good player. He made 1 All-Star team, but he is still not a superstar or star per se. But what can he do? He is a all-time defensive player, and he can get you buckets when needed and if asked to. That's exactly why Drew Holiday was there, and that's exactly what he did. He didn't need to yesterday because Giannis played top 3 greatest game-clinching games in finals history. None of us are that old. We're all 25, 24, whatever, however old we are. So we can't go back to like Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell or Clyde Frazier those days and discuss their game-clinching moments, because we weren't around for that. But in the past 25 years, I can guaranteedly say this was a top 2 to top, at least top 2. The only
top 2,
only other performance I can say that ranks with this is what Michael Jordan did in 1998 when I was 3 years old, when he was in Utah and dropped 45 points by himself when Scottie Pippen had a bad back and was sick. So that was one player going up against 5, and he I know Chaitan loves this reference because he's a Bulls fan. Michael Jordan single-handedly, Game 6, the final game he ever played for the Chicago Bulls, single-handedly ended the Utah Jazz's dreams, and they have not recovered since. And that's what I have to say about the Bucks. Giannis did his job. He is a superstar. This is 26 years old. There's nothing you can say. If you heard his story, you have to love it. This man is built about everything. I've wanted him to win. I didn't pick him to win this series because I was kind of concerned about the knee injury, but he has amazing genes. That's all you can say. This man looked like he was out for a year. Amazing genes, recovered, and now look where he is. And he got 250 pieces. I hope everyone knows this. He had 50 pieces yesterday. He woke up 7 hours later. I don't know if he went to sleep or not. And he went to Chick-fil-A and he celebrated with another 50 piece. And he deserved to because he earned every single point that he got yesterday. Tay-Time, your thoughts?
I mean, I just want to add on to your point that for the Michael Jordan reference, Giannis's 50 points is the most points ever in a closeout game for the NBA Finals.
I will say the reason why I'm saying Michael Jordan's ranks, I would rank him higher is because number one, that was in Utah. And number two, Scottie Pippen was basically half dead. Like he had a straight up serious back injury and he was sick. So Chris Middleton was fine. Drew Holiday was fine. Bobby Portis was fine. His players were fine health-wise. That's why I would say, and plus I would say Utah Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone are a better team than this Phoenix Suns team.
I mean, that game also ended with the shot. So
and that.
But just overall, the way I viewed the Bucks to not win that series after being down 2-0 because it was it's the idea that they put into our heads. It's the same old Milwaukee Bucks team.
No. That's all. I don't agree with a lot of people's point about that. It was 2-0. What did Phoenix do? We saw this whole playoff. 2-0 means nothing.
Yeah, but I'm saying in reference to, what we've seen previously, other than the Brooklyn series, we're like, it's the same old Bucks team, right? Until they prove something, it is always going to be the same old team. Because we talked about Utah the same exact way in the regular season. It's like, until you show me in the playoffs, you're the same old Utah Jazz, right? So in this case, I will never talk about Milwaukee as the same old Milwaukee team. They could be down 2-0. They could be down 3-0, 3-1. From now on, I'm going to be like, they always have a chance because they have that championship pedigree. But, when they're down 2-0 and it looked bad in Phoenix, they come back, we thought, game 3, you and I both said, this should be easy Milwaukee win. Easy Milwaukee win. Game 4, I was like, the Suns have a chance. They did, and they just choked at the end. Turnovers, this and that. They could have stolen game 4. They could have stolen game 5. They could have stolen game 6.
They should have stolen game 5.
They should have stolen game 5. Well, it's not even count as I think Milwaukee stole game 5 because game 5.
Yeah, I said it wrong. Yeah, they should have won game 5. That was theirs. The home court, they're up 17. No excuse.
Yeah, and let alone game 6, they were down in the beginning and they come all the way back. It looked like it was over early and Phoenix came back and you're like, okay, no, Phoenix can make it a game. And 77-77 entering the third quarter, you just got to win for 12 minutes. And what Milwaukee proved is I will bring my best players, but that one guy that we have is much better than everyone you have.